Hello everyone and welcome to the LoGhouls podcast where we bring your hauntings to life. Today I'm with Abby and she's going to share her experiences today with us and as well as, you know, her thoughts surrounding the supernatural and we're just going to have a good old time. This is my dear friend here.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
We're like best friends.
We are.
We are. Why'd you sound so sarcastic?
Bruh. Alright.
Okay.
So listen if you dare, and don't go away, for this shall be one spooky story you won't want to miss.
I feel like your Halloween shirt, very fitting
Thank you.
for the podcast.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, no problem.
Alright, so before we dive into your experience, right?
Okay.
Can you give us and the viewers like a little history about yourself?
So I was born in Fallensby, West Virginia. Well, technically we're in West Virginia. I was born at Weirton Medical Center, that area. And I lived in the same house for like all of my life. So I've lived in that house for a while, like 21 years. There you go. Yeah, I've been there for a while. And I really never believed in the paranormal. Like starting out, I never did. And some things I think about a lot, and it kind of leans me more towards believing in the paranormal. So I'm kind of like on the fence. Like I'm on that like teetering. Like I'm on the teetering.
We got a little skeptic in our hands, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Anything else you want to say about yourself? Anything like you do in free time or anything? That's it.
That's it.
That's you. Okay.
Yeah, that's me.
All right. So, where exactly has your experience occurred?
In my home.
In your own house.
Yes, in my own house.
That's crazy. And do you know, like, you have any theories as to why this has happened in your house? You don't have any theories? Nothing?
No.
Just strange.
It is very strange.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe like the people that lived before me were like, maybe they were demon people. Summoning them. I don't know. The house is like 50 years old. So.
All right. Okay. So then I guess go ahead and explain your experience.
All right. We'll talk about it. So growing up, my mom had this doll cabinet, right? Like, that thing is glass all the way through. This cabinet, I don't even know where the cabinet came from. I couldn't tell you where the dolls came from. So,
a little fishy there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the dolls, I've been there, like, all my life. Like, my mom, I don't know where she got them, but, I'd probably ask her. I don't know, I don't like talking about it a lot.
Right,
Because, like, my mom's also, like, she doesn't really believe, but, so... There's this dollhouse. It's full of dolls. Like, when I tell you, every shelf has dolls on it. Like,
no, thank you.
Like, I can even, like, if you wanted to, like, I can send you a picture, and you can even put it on your podcast.
I could
Yes.
pop it up right now.
Exactly. Bam. Okay. For real though. Okay. So this dollhouse had been there since I was a kid. And it's moved around the house. And so I think maybe my mom could have gotten the dolls, and then whatever entity or maybe entities lived in my house could have connected themselves to the dolls.
Gotcha.
Like, the dolls weren't originally haunted when we got them, because they could have been like fresh from the store.
Yeah.
But, you know, a demon probably was like, man, I want to get in that doll, you know? I want to be that doll.
Yes. So you're saying like your house is already like haunted, and you think like these spirits just attach themselves to it?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay.
Because that house has been like years.
Right.
It has been the maybe the people before, like I said, ghosts. I don't know if anyone's died in the house. So.
Yeah.
But I know that the people before us were very old people, so maybe wandered back to their home and were like, oh, these are nice dolls. I'm not exactly sure how like ghosts work, so.
Right. Yeah. I mean, truly, none of us really know.
Yeah, that's true.
It's always cool to like have our theories though. I mean, you know.
Oh yeah. So, like when I was a kid, I used to be like fascinated with these dolls. I would look at them a lot. I even had like my favorite doll. I was like, she's so pretty. I love her hair, all that kind of stuff. And I think my mom's just like a collector. So they kind of just sat there and were, I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah,
but,
it's okay.
They would do stuff at like night. So
What kinds?
here's
of
where
stuff?
we're gonna get into now that I've said it.
Okay.
Now that I've said it. Okay. So as a kid, I used to like watch them, and when I went to sleep the next, like I'd be asleep, I'd wake up the next day, and some of them would have their like heads turned, or some of them would some of them would be sitting in different like positions. It definitely was like weird, like but it wasn't like huge movements that I was like, whoa,
Okay.
you know. Like maybe the doll's hand was here, and then it just overnight it just somehow ended like here. Very different. But
Yeah.
there's this one little tiny statue that sits at the top, because my mom has like 3 dolls at the top and then tiny like statues. And so there's this one statue at the top, and it's a seesaw. And there's one kid here and there's one kid here.
Oh.
And sometimes when you look at it, this kid will be down, this kid will be up. Now you could argue and say like, oh, maybe somebody was like sticking their hand in there and like moving it, or somebody did
Yeah,
something.
or maybe there's a draft, something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so, but the thing about it is this placement of this statue is like right in the middle, surrounded by others. So you would have to really want to move like that seesaw to
Yeah.
stick your hand in there and like touch it, in my
Yeah.
personal opinion. But that one also, like if you watched it, you'd wake up the next day, it would be over here, or you would, go to sleep, you'd wake here. I've never actually seen that one move.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you never actually like seen like as it's happening. You kind of just like see like it just changed
The after
after.
effects,
Yeah. Okay.
So
Interesting.
yeah, but there are instances where, like growing up, I just get more uneasy around it. Like there's, I kind of just don't like looking at it, or if I stand in front of it, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't want to stand here anymore, because I feel like they're just staring at you.
Yeah. Nah, cause like I also have like a doll cabinet type
Oh yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Honestly, I hate it. But my mom, she loves
That's
collecting stuff, right?
Yes, all moms do.
And so we have like, so it's me and my sister, so we have each like half of our shelves, like half's mine, half is hers. And like we have like our little trinket dolls, whatever, in there,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Absolutely hate looking at it. Hate it.
It makes you uneasy.
Yeah, and I know there's nothing attached to that or anything like that, but just looking at it, it's like, no thank you.
No thanks. Something about dolls just throw you off.
Yeah.
It's definitely weird. And these aren't just like they're not all porcelain.
Okay.
Some of them like have like, I don't like, not real human hair, but
Okay.
it is soft and probably, I would maybe say yarn, or not like yarn, but it's very like, it looks like real hair. Like
Okay, yeah.
like
No,
legitimately.
yeah, I have a couple of those too, and I
Yeah, and
hate,
they're like
those too.
their hair is just like so silky and like,
Yes.
smooth, and you're like, ah.
Yes.
But like growing up to when, like, sometimes, speaking back to like when they would move and stuff, it wasn't only like their body parts. You could,
Yeah.
okay.
No,
It wasn't.
you
Okay.
can see.
It wasn't. Sorry. It wasn't only their body parts that would move. Sometimes their hats would fall off, or sometimes
Okay.
like their hat would be like switched different, maybe like a slightly bent over, and it was very unsettling, and I think it still does that today. I don't pay much attention to it anymore, because it's just so,
Right. Yeah. It's just
I'm like,
bothers you. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I don't trust it.
Yeah. Is this? Did you say this cabinet is in your room, or is it in like another?
It's moved over the years, but currently it is right in front of me in my brother's room, and it's a super thin hallway.
Oh.
So once
okay.
I open the door, bam, they're right in front of me, and I'm like, ooh.
So,
It's rough.
Have you ever seen like a doll, like, okay, it's been in the cabinet, but then all of a sudden it's like another room or like anything like that?
No, nothing that extreme. No.
Okay.
If
No, because I'd be out of
no,
that.
no, I would be gone. Personally, I'd be like, bye, Mom. No, my mom doesn't believe that they're haunted. My mom absolutely is like, no, there's nothing in the dolls. And
I mean, has she ever seen anything? No.
I tell her about it. She's like, no.
She doesn't believe.
She just doesn't believe. But like I said, she's also kind of, I think she doesn't want to believe.
That's okay. I mean,
yeah, I can't like force her to
harm
believe.
in that, right?
And even I'm like on the edge. Maybe I'm seeing things. I don't know. It's kind of it's very different. So, what was it? We have had people like come into our house and they're like, no, that is
like an uneasy feeling.
Yeah, they're just no bueno with it. No bueno. One of my brother's previous girlfriends actually like would not like interact with it at all. Like she was like, there's something wrong with those dolls. She was like, I don't like walking past them. She said, I don't like looking at them. She said, I just kind of turn my head when I walk past them. So that was I was like, oh, that's concerning, because these are just sitting in my house.
Right, and I feel like different people have like different vibes, and they can feel different energies and stuff like that. So maybe she's just a little bit more like uneasy around it.
Yeah, exactly.
Your mom or something.
Yeah, your mom. Anyway,
you know. I mean, have you ever like captured anything like on film? Nothing, just all happened like overnight.
I think it all happens overnight, because whatever demon or entity is in these dolls like just doesn't. I don't think it's strong enough to like actually physically do something. You know, like do something crazy.
Yeah. So you don't think it will ever like hurt you then?
I don't think. Maybe if it gets enough power, but or maybe it just likes being in the doll. I don't know.
Okay.
I worry more for the demon to connect to something else rather than like you know.
Yeah, like to you or something.
Oh my gosh, like, no, thank you.
That would be worse, right?
Exactly. So I kind of, you know, I don't want to like fiddle with them too much or like like try to speak to them, and then they're like, perfect, you're speaking to me.
Yeah, maybe it is better that you just like
kind of like uneasy, because maybe if we keep like trying, it's gonna be like getting more powerful. Yeah. My dad is actually somebody who absolutely like does not touch Ouija boards. And
I wouldn't either. I will never touch those.
No, never. Exactly. So here's one theory that I made in my lifetime about like why there could be whatever is going on. So my dad, anytime like we mention Ouija boards, now I would never touch a Ouija board, absolutely not. That's not like, that's no bueno, no good vibes. So I absolutely get like uneasy when I talk about it. If my dad even sees a Ouija board, he's like, do not touch those. And sometimes, like back in the day, I used to theorize that my dad once played with a Ouija board in our house. I don't know, maybe he released something evil into the house and didn't realize it, and it connected itself to maybe one doll or maybe more. I don't. But I know that he is absolutely like against Ouija boards in the house. Like, do not bring a Ouija board in my, you know.
Right.
So sometimes I wonder if maybe he released one or more demons in the house.
Maybe, you never know.
So, but he's like, no, absolutely not. I do not play with Ouija boards. So.
I wouldn't either.
Exactly.
Anything else you want to add about your experience? Is that it?
I would say that is it.
Yeah?
Yeah. So
main storyline right there?
That's me, yeah.
Alright. Well, before I ask a little bit more about your thoughts on this, I'm going to change gears here a little bit. And I'm going to discuss another paranormal story that was sent in by Kelly. And it's dealing with one of her past relatives. And I'll read it to you and we'll discuss our thoughts.
Okay.
Right after this message from our sponsor. Does your yard make your house look haunted? If so, call us, Grafton Lawn Care. We'll get your place back amongst the living. All right, welcome back to the LoGhouls podcast. If you're just now tuning in, Abby just explained her crazy doll experience.
Yeah.
And I'm about to give you another unexplainable story. As I mentioned earlier, it was sent in by Kelly. And so if you would like your experience to be heard on the LoGhouls podcast, then head on over to the LoGhouls podcast website. So, Kelly writes, "It was about 3 days after my grandma passed away. My extended family was coming in from Columbus, and they were all staying at my grandma's house. So my parents and I decided to go over and see everyone. The funeral was 2 days away at this point. They were cleaning the floors and getting the house ready for more family to visit."
Hold on, let me interrupt you real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
So what you're telling me is that her grandma passed away, and then they were staying in her passed away grandma's house.
Yes, I believe that's what
Okay.
is going on here.
Okay.
Kelly, I'm sorry if I'm wrong. But anyway, they were cleaning the floors and getting the house ready for more family to visit and stay for the duration of the funeral process. In the dining room, which was my grandmother's bedroom at the time, and unfortunately where she passed away, my family and I were digging through old pictures of my grandma to display at the funeral home. I pointed out one photo in particular of her in her wedding dress, and asked my aunt if my grandmother ever wore makeup. They said she only ever wore blush, no foundation, or anything else. A little while later, my aunt asked me if I'd ever given my grandma anything and if I would like to have it back. I gave my grandma a little bird ornament for Christmas in 2011. So my aunt found it in one of the drawers by the bed and handed it back to me. I then went home and hung the ornament in my room. Fast forward to that night. It was around 10 p.m. I was in my room, and when I walked out to go to the bathroom, I felt a rush of heat.
Ooh.
I didn't know where it came from or what caused it, but I didn't think anything of it. I went back to my room and was just checking my phone. Out of the blue, I felt as though something was telling me to look at the bird ornament that I had just hung up. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. Something was making me stare at it, and I couldn't look away. Kind of similar to your dolls, right?
Ooh.
She said she started having a weird feeling in her stomach. As I still gazed at the ornament, out of the corner of my eye, I saw something move. It was my beauty blender that was sitting on my dresser. It was leaning up against a moisturizer bottle, but it rolled and suddenly stopped. How could this even be? There was no airflow, and nothing could have caused it. Furthermore, when beauty blenders roll, they tend to roll and fall onto the floor, or at least roll to the point of falling off. But this one didn't. It rolled and stopped abruptly. Of course, when it first happened, I freaked out and screamed for my mom to come to my room. I didn't get much sleep that night, but after wondering of countless logical explanations, I finally made a connection. Earlier that night, when we were in the room she passed away in, I asked my aunt if my grandma ever wore makeup, and obviously beauty blenders are for makeup, so my theory is that my grandma heard me ask that question and was curious of my makeup vanity. The fact that it was my beauty blender for my foundation, a cosmetic product that my grandma supposedly never wore, made me realize just what I had experienced. I truly believe she was curious and was just checking out my makeup stuff. Pretty wild, right?
That is... Wow.
Yeah. It's a little different type of experience in my opinion. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Never heard that happen before.
I've heard stories like that, though.
Really?
Of people who've passed away before communicating with others.
Okay.
Like, I had a story from one of my childhood friends after her grandma, I want to say it was her grandma, passed away. She was able to communicate with her grandma by asking yes or no, yes or no questions, by asking her grandma to turn up the volume of the TV or turn down the volume of the TV.
Wow.
Do I know if this is for sure, was I there to experience? No, I was not.
Right.
So
Right.
but
yeah.
I have heard stories of that before, of relatives passing away and then trying to communicate through what is around you, so
Yeah.
grandma, are you here? Turn up the volume for yes, turn down it for no. So
It's almost like a homemade Ouija board in a sense.
yes, in a way, yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess another thing too, I would say, this did happen to me. The same friend that told me about her grandma, we were talking about her grandma in her room. This is actually just a small paranormal story that I couldn't, like, make a whole, like, thing out of, like, the dolls. Because the dolls are more something that is a long-term experience.
Right, yeah.
But, this same friend, when she told me about her grandma turning up and down the TV, we had went to hang out at her place that day. And, we were in her room. And in her room, she had this, like, jewelry box. Or, it's like something you would wind up and let go and it would play. Yeah, and she kept it.
Music box, that's what it is.
Yeah. So, but I think it was more like a snow globe. With like a thing at the bottom. I have one of them too, but yeah. So we were sitting there and we're talking about her experience with her grandma turning up and down the TV, and we, nothing is said. We're hanging out and stuff, and I forget something was said, but all of a sudden, the music box on the thing played. Real short. It was short. It wasn't long.
Yeah.
But it did like a, and we were like, what? Like that is not supposed to do that. That doesn't just do that. So we were a little freaked out. We were like yelling for her aunt. We were like, come in here, come in here.
Yeah, no, that reminds me though, because that actually happened to me, like at my house.
Really?
Yeah, there was I think it was like little kids' toys. Like my mom keeps everything, you know what I mean? And I swear to gosh, like one of the toys like went off in like the crawl space, which, I mean, we don't touch those. Like we're adults now. Like
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, we heard something like go off, and like it was like a split second type of thing. It was like
super fast.
Like,
you don't process it until after it happens. It happens so fast that you're like. Wait.
It was either that or it was a music box. So I think it was a kid's toy. But it was very, very strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to her story.
Yeah.
That is a very odd like connection though. Like, I mean, you're talking about makeup, right? And then the beauty blender just rolls out. I mean,
moves,
right? Like,
and especially because she said it stopped, like on there.
Right? Yeah.
So that kind of
it just stopped.
Usually, I feel it would keep rolling.
Yeah, like she mentioned.
Like she said, and you know what? That is, if she was talking about her grandma and her grandma did hear that, her grandma would probably again like be around, and especially because she took the toy with her, or not the toy but the ornament. Sorry. we were talking about toys.
We're talking about a million stories.
We're talking about toys, we're talking about music boxes, we're talking about everything.
That's okay.
That's what you get on this podcast. You get the full experience. But I feel like her grandma was connected to that and was able to travel per se, like through that.
That's a good theory, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like that.
Do you have any like theories on how? Like how do you think ghosts travel?
Honestly, that's a tough one. Cause like I truly don't know. I think it's like hard to like explain a theory when I don't. Like I know theories are theories, right? And it's just whatever you think, right? But I feel like I have to have like concrete like proof and concrete evidence to be like, yeah, that's what I think. I don't. Like, I mean, cause you know me, I'm a religious person. Right?
Yes.
And I believe in like purgatory. Okay. I mean, I don't know if you know what purgatory is, but
not quite like.
Not really. Okay, I'll explain a little bit. So, honestly, how I think of purgatory is like that like middle ground between heaven and hell.
Okay.
And actually, I think only you go to purgatory if you have a chance of going to heaven, I think. But you go there to like cleanse yourself, free yourself from all sin and everything, and like ask for forgiveness.
Okay. Like
so those are for people who are like not 100%, sin free and go straight to heaven. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly.
So that's where most people go. Is purgatory. Okay.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like a lot of these ghosts are trapped in purgatory, and that's what we're seeing.
Yes, exactly.
I feel like that's what we're seeing. That's just my opinion.
We're in the middle ground.
Yeah.
They're on like a different plane.
Yeah, I feel
we're
like
here and they're.
Yeah, I feel like they're all here, even like heaven and hell, because like demons are here, right?
Oh yeah.
So I feel like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, heaven's up there, hell's down here, but I feel like we're all like here.
We're all in the
just
same
here,
plane,
right?
Yeah.
But it's like different like dimensions or whatever you want to call them.
Existing.
Yeah, all like here.
A state of existence.
And we get to see a little glimpse of you know,
Oh,
purgatory
yeah,
or hell or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
that's my theory around like the afterlife.
honestly,
Stuff
yeah,
like that.
that's a good theory though.
But I don't know if it's true. I mean, we don't know.
yeah, like
But
we don't know.
that's my little theory there.
It's a really good theory.
Yeah, and I feel like we're just getting like little, like I said, like little glimpses into this and that.
Yeah, so I like you said, you don't have a reason why ghosts can move. I personally feel like ghosts connect to objects, and
I do think that too.
connect.
Like,
So hypothetically, she brought in a way she brought the ornament with her,
right.
and her grandma traveled through that ornament by being connected to it.
Yeah, I agree.
But then also at the same time, say her mom has something of her grandma's at her house,
Mm-hmm.
and goes back to her grandma's house. Her grandma can hypothetically connect herself to that, and take her back to the house.
Right.
I don't think ghosts can travel freely. Maybe they can, but
Yeah, I don't know.
maybe ghosts walk down the street, and I just don't know.
I mean, I have also heard like that theory where like, okay, say like somebody dies and like, I mean, this is horrible, but say somebody dies like in a train station, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Because let's say they get hit by a train, okay?
Yeah, okay.
That's unfortunate, right?
Yeah.
But like, I feel like if you see like that goes there and like it repeats like how it died or something, like I think that's what's it called? Like I don't know, like people believe that some like spirits are like on like a loop in a way.
Oh, yeah,
And they just, like,
can't,
repeat repeat like how they died or repeat something that they've done like in their previous life.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, like they aren't really. I mean, I guess they would be attached to the place,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I feel like in a way that they're just like stuck there. They're just stuck in time. There's
That's
also
true.
theories that ghosts don't know they're dead, so then they're just like stuck in time once
Oh,
again.
yeah,
But,
yeah.
you know, plenty of theories out there. We don't know.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, we
We don't
could
know.
talk about a million
No, we
theories,
could.
really. We could talk
We
about
could.
100. But that, we only
could.
have what we can base off of.
We
So
could.
if you were telling me, like, how this story, like, how this would have
Right.
happened,
Uh,
in my opinion, I would feel like her grandma was connecting, like, herself to
yeah, no, I definitely
traveling
think,
that way.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a solid theory for this little story here. And
So it's a good story, though. That's
no, it is because like, I mean, honestly, it's like it's a one of a kind. Like, it's personal.
Exactly.
you
It's
know what I mean?
personal. It's like, you know,
That's hers. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, you can find ones that relate to it, but you can't find something that's exactly like that.
Right. I think that's cool. I think it's what makes it more believable too. Is like,
Yes, when,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, when it's something personal.
yeah, no, I definitely think that's legit for real.
Yeah.
Okay, so
All right.
we talked about your experience.
Yep.
Talked about Kelly's.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go back to yours.
Oh, okay.
Ask you a couple more questions.
All right. Let's hear them.
And I mean, you know, we were talking about theories and stuff.
Yep.
I mean, have you always believed in supernatural and paranormal, or has this been like something new? I mean, I know you mentioned earlier you're kind of a skeptic. You're in the middle there,
that's
but
true.
I
mean, I can get more in depth of how I got to where I am, believing wise.
go ahead.
Growing up, like as a kid,
Mhm.
I just never believed in ghosts. You know, you always have like tons of friends when you're kids
Right.
that are like, oh, I believe in ghosts. Like I believe,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. And I usually feel like people get it from their parents too.
Oh yeah.
I feel like growing up, my parents were never like ghost people, and they never like were like, there's ghosts in the house and stuff like
Right.
that. But I did have this one friend that watched scary movies at like a young age and understood that kind of like concept. Alana. But there are friends like that she would know, do her research about that kind of stuff, and I kind of was like, oh, I don't really believe that, but she would talk about like ghosts and stuff, and I definitely wasn't like 100% like, oh yeah, I believe in them, So growing up, I mean, I feel like going on further into my life, I just started to become a skeptic because you can't explain everything. How do you explain this? How do you explain that?
Right.
And she, I think there was one time she literally sent me a picture of like a ghost per se, like on her phone.
Okay,
Like maybe it wasn't real or something, but it was very believable, especially because you had to like zoom in and you could faintly make out faces, you could faintly make out like a body shape, like that kind of thing, and I couldn't really explain it, so I was like, oh, that's definitely weird, you know, that's not something I can explain. And definitely like with the dollhouse too, slowly watching that unfold, I was like, oh, what's going on here, you know? And even then it was, you know, I still was like, but I would say I lean more towards believing now than I did when I was younger. You know, I'm still not 100% like, yes, there are demons and ghosts around us. There are, you know, living spirits, you know. I'm kind of in the middle, you know. I can explain some stuff, but I can't explain most things, so.
Right.
I guess I can remain on that neutral, like, foreground of, here's this, like, here's why it wouldn't be, you know. Because you don't want to believe, like, everything, because...
Right, I mean, especially in today's world.
We got Photoshop now.
Media,
We got, like, Photoshop, like, how do I know that's not, like, a Photoshop goes? I mean, growing up in the 2000s, I don't really think, like, a lot of people Photoshopped stuff.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't,
technology
like,
wasn't, like,
it wasn't
that
big. It wasn't
right?
that big, exactly. Like,
it was just
YouTube was, like, just starting out, and, like, people were being, like, real ghosts caught on camera. So it was definitely, like...
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like, I'm trying to think, like, I mean, is there ever a point, do you think there's ever a point where you'd get to, like, you 100% believe, or like, you still,
honestly, I feel like it has to be, like, super, like
have,
Michael Jackson's ghost, like, walks in the room, like, and I'd be like, now that's real, like, I know he's dead. Like, that would, like,
oh my goodness.
Like, it would have to be, like, a legit, like, I would have to see a demon or see a ghost, or, like, I don't know, because sometimes I see, like, videos of, like, chairs moving and and I'm like, how do I explain that? You know, you can't really, like, explain that. Maybe also, like, if I walk downstairs and something got, like, thrown across the room, that's definitely something that you're like, oh, I didn't throw that, so who threw that? You know?
Right. So you almost need, like, concrete, like,
I needed to see it, like,
because, like you said with your dolls, like, it was just, like, overnight, like,
it was
you
overnight,
didn't actually, see it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard for you to be like, yep.
Yeah, definitely
haunted.
there was something,
like,
in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, maybe it's like Toy Story. Maybe the dolls are just toys.
I mean, does the paranormal, like, does it intrigue you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It
does fascinate me.
Ever scare you in any way?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say it does.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I mean, it depends on what you're dealing with, though. I guess.
Right.
Like, demons that will actually, like,
hurt
people. Now that's terrifying. Like, when you wake up with, like, scratches on your body that you can't really explain. Because actually, that has happened. Like, waking up with scratches on me that I couldn't explain. But then again, I do have sharp nails.
You have animals, right? Cats?
Yeah, see?
And I have cats too, and I do
really?
I'm like, well, I mean,
our cats are the demon.
my cat was on my bed last night. She probably did something I just didn't feel.
Literally,
So.
Yeah, cats. Maybe cats are demons. we're just living in their world.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I want to know why you wanted to share your story today.
Why I wanted to share my story?
Yeah, 'cause you said you're a little bit, you know.
Because I just wanted people to know that, like, even if you're not, like, 100% like solid on your your story or, like, what you believe in, it's still always good to have an open mind. Still always good to be open to what other people have to tell you. So I wanted to just be like, hey, here's what happened to me. I don't know if it's real, but I do have an open mind for that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, I like that. That's a good answer to that question. I like that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm somewhat of a somewhat of a speaker myself.
Is there anything that you would like to say to the other skeptics out there?
Oh, just keep an open mind, like I said. Yeah, just keep an open mind.
Anything else? Anything else you want to add?
No, ma'am.
You good?
Yes.
That's your story, huh?
That's my story.
Alright. Well, thank you, Abby, for joining me. those were some wild stories.
Dude, wasn't that great? Yeah.
No,
that was
because
crazy.
like I'm absolutely terrified of dolls in general. I don't.
I'll make
I
sure
wouldn't
send
mess
you.
with those.
I'll make sure I send you a picture of my doll cabinet now.
All right.
A little spooky.
You know, I couldn't imagine like living in a house with some dolls moving around.
Especially when they're right outside your room.
Mm-mm.
What if one night I was like sleeping and all of a sudden across the floor is like
No.
little doll
thank
feet.
you. No, because I hate like in horror movies when like when they do make that like sound
they make,
effect
like,
and
a little-
mm-mm.
like what if you look under it's like a little
All right,
No,
all right.
where the dolls going? Midnight snack. Midnight snack. Midnight snack with the besties.
Oh my goodness. Oh, well, thank you
Alright.
again, and thank
Yeah.
you for tuning in at home.
Yeah.
This has been your host, Alana, and you just listened to the LoGhouls podcast, where we bring your
Yes.
hauntings to life. Come back for more scares, if you dare.